Okay. All right. Good morning, everyone. I'm Claudia Dixon, Bibliographic Services Consultant at SWAN, and welcome to the Cataloging Users meeting. I want to especially welcome to the new libraries if staff is attending. Thank you for being here. If you have any questions, please feel free to unmute yourself or enter the question in the chat box. Sorry, I'm getting some messages here just now. All right, so good morning again. Let's start with our agenda. So, all right, hold on for 1 second. Let me move this here. For some reason, my PowerPoint froze now. Oh, okay. I do miss the in-person meetings, I have to say that. Hold on just 1 second. All right, yes, got it to work. All right, so this is not the first topic on the agenda. The first topic will be Sam will give an update about item type consolidation. Sam, do you need to be made a presenter or you can just talk? Is there anything you want to show?
Yeah, I think I'll just talk. I am
Okay.
going to paste something into the chat, but I think I'll just give a verbal update.
Thank
Thanks.
you. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So hi everybody. We've been doing these updates in a lot of our meetings about this item type consolidation project that we've been working on at SWAN. And as an aside, I just got a note that Anne Marie's in, so that's good. Anyway, back to item type consolidation. So some of you might have heard this before, but what SWAN is doing right now has been, well, what we've been doing for a few months is looking at our list of item types, determining ones that are maybe in low use across the consortium and might be good potential candidates for removal. And we're also looking at cleaning up the model that we use for creating item types. The reason for this is because really in a large consortium, anytime you have a very large list of item types, it complicates things as far as interlibrary loan. If an item comes to your library that you don't use, sometimes it can circulate unexpectedly. This can cause confusion for the patrons. And then, of course, as staff are identifying and cataloging items and setting item types, having a smaller list just makes things easier. What makes this a little more complicated in Symphony is that the item type drives circulation entirely. So if you want something to have a different loan period or fine rate or renewal limit or anything like that, all of that sits in the circulation rule, which is directly tied to the item type. So having a smaller list of item types inherently makes your circulation rules simpler, which in some cases is great, in some cases can make things a little more difficult for you if you want to get more granular with how things circulate in your library. But so to continue giving some background, that's the reason why we're doing this. We started with our list of video item types as our sort of heaviest, going to say maybe abuser of, we have a lot of video item types. I think we have 37 or 38 at present, and that's a lot. I mean, and those aren't necessary in a lot of libraries' cases. So what we started looking at was a way to remove audience level if possible from the item type and also remove carrier type is kind of what I'm calling it right now, for lack of a better term. And what that means is, we have a video, right? Could be a DVD, it could be a Blu-ray, it could be a 4K, it could be a number of things. And if all of those things circulate the same in your library, why do we need separate distinct item types for those? Especially because all of that information is in the rich bibliographic data that we have. So rather than having redundancies, we want to try to pare that down. So we created a new model for video item types, and that's what I'm going to paste in the chat. Everyone can see it. I don't know if the bullets will translate well, but hopefully they will. Okay. So you should see, I think, 7 new item types, all with the naming convention of video. Then, of course, because item types drive circulation, which includes holdability, we do need those new versions of each. And we've also created feature versions of each for those libraries that like to circulate features differently than maybe a nonfiction DVD. And then we also know that video sets have to circulate differently. They have different restrictions in the circulation policy where they must circulate for at least 2 weeks. So those need to be broken out as well. And then we want to allow for things like a hot copy or, quick pick, whatever terminology you use, collection that is maybe special in that special item type. So if you're already familiar with the way item types are structured in SWAN, this should look familiar to you as far as the naming convention, just that video is taking the place of something like Blu-ray or DVD. So at present today, we currently have 5 libraries using this model, including the 3 incoming, and we are getting new requests every day. We have rolled this sort of consultation. Well, let me say, first, you can request a consultation for us to dig deep into your item types and take a look at which ones you're using, and which ones you might be able to eliminate and simplify for your catalogers and your patrons. And we can really look at your library data one-on-one, which is pretty nice to be able to do. Sometimes we both learn things throughout the process. So we're doing those kind of consultations as a request basis. So if you are interested, just send a ticket into help@swanlibraries.net, and you don't even have to have a clear idea if you want to move toward this. We can just begin the conversation. So we've done those consultations with about 8 libraries. We are also rolling that into fine-free consultations that Vicki Totten has been leading. And so if you are a library that requested a fine-free consultation recently, you might have gotten this spiel from me. And if you request one in the future, you will definitely get it. So there are 2 different ways that you can have this evaluation of your item types done. And now that we've established this video item type model, we are looking at expanding it. We want to eventually cover all of our item types. Our next big chunk will be to look at audio, and then probably take a look at maybe some of the print item types and see if those can be consolidated as well. For example, if a library circulates large type and paperback the same as book, maybe we can just use book. Or maybe there's a better word for it too. This is a moving process, and we're just working through our phases and doing our best to get the list simplified. So again, if you're interested, just send in that ticket to help@swanlibraries.net. It'll most likely go to me, but someone will get in touch with you and we will set up a time to meet with you. If anyone has any questions, feel free to send them in the chat, or maybe Dawn can try to unmute you. And if you don't have questions too, that's great.
And I think everybody is their mute is controlled by yourself. So if you want to jump in, unmute yourself and you can talk.
Thanks, Dawn.
Okay, great, Sam. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, I guess we can proceed. So let's go to the second topic on the agenda. Okay, there's a question that came up. Do you want to grab that question, Sam?
Sure. Yeah. So Amy is asking, this wasn't part of her fine-free process, probably because they did it longer ago. We started rolling those in maybe a month ago or so. Time is different this year. But if you are interested in making the change, you certainly can send in a ticket now. This is, I would love to say we have a direct timeline for when the entire item type list is going to be consolidated, but there just isn't, because we're still working on it. So if you want to wait a bit and get more than just video consolidated, you're welcome to do that too, and we'll keep you updated in these meetings. I think this is probably going to be on our agenda for quite some time. So it's kind of up to you, but I will tell you that we're talking about, as far as audio goes, moving toward an audiobook item type instead of something like a CD spoken or spoken recording or that kind of thing. Again, stripping out that carrier type if possible. So that is something we could probably move forward with at this time. So it wouldn't necessarily just be looking at video, but you might need another meeting in the future, if that makes sense, just due to the nature of the process.
All right, perfect. Anyone else? Sam, Amy
Yeah.
Vice. Mm-hmm.
I love that we're getting all the Amy questions. So another Amy says, my problem is that we shelve DVDs and Blu-rays together. Item type is the only way to tell the difference between them. And yes, so that is definitely one of the reasons why we're doing this as a library by library consultation. Some libraries are taking a look at home locations and saying, maybe we want to have new home locations, and maybe that doesn't work for you because of signage, and you don't want to complicate one field and clean up another. What we are talking about, and I don't have a timeline on this, unless anyone else in the room does, but we're talking about the possibility of building out an item category that would do something like that and allow you to get statistics and run reports based on DVD versus Blu-ray as opposed to having that at the item type level. So that might be something that you'd want to wait for if we develop that.
Yeah, and something like that is, it's not our immediate like next task in terms of this project. That's something that we have to look forward to maybe in the middle of next year. There's some other factors that are coming into play that will help us make decisions along item categories. So it is something we're looking at, but it's not something we're immediately working on.
Yeah, thanks for jumping in on that.
Mm-hmm.
But certainly there might be another way that, depending on which reports or what you're using to, what's important for you to tell the difference between them, there might be something creative we can do for you. So if you are really interested, even if you're not sure if it will work, I would still encourage you to send it in a ticket, and we can meet with you and hash it out. Okay.
Okay, perfect. Does anyone else have any questions about this? All right, so we can proceed with the second topic on the agenda, combo pack records with standalone items. So I put an example on the screen here of we have noticed a lot of this extended in the extended information field, a lot of these notes like Blu-ray only or DVD only. And that creates a problem because if you receive the Blu-ray only or the DVD only, it should be in the correct record. It shouldn't be on the combo pack record. So I know some libraries have incorporated into their workflow to move the items to the correct records upon receiving. And we noticed also in the Midwest Tapes website, some records with this notation, like you order the Blu-ray DVD combo pack, but there is a note right there saying limited quantities will include DVD version of the film. Title may not release with the DVD. So most likely you're not going to get the combo pack, so it makes it even more important to check when you receive your item to see if your item is on the correct record. Does that make sense? How does it work for
Claudia?
Yes.
Yeah,
Hi, Joy.
Claudia, Joy at Tinley Park. Hi. I know sometimes we have done that. We've made a note that it's DVD only or Blu-ray only. That's because it was released singly. It was only released as a combo pack. And so all of our packaging says that it's part of a combo pack. And I think in some instances, there is not the single record. No one has created a Blu-ray only or a DVD only bib record.
Yes, but in those cases,
it
needed to be created. You need to create at least a precat, and we will work on creating an original record if necessary. But if it is a combo pack record, it should have both parts. So we want to, yeah, that creates problems. And we have a report that runs often to pick up those records that are combo packs but have only Blu-ray or only DVD. But the report is not perfect. So we get a lot of emails and libraries notice that combo packs have single items attached to them. So if there's not a precat or a record in SWAN, one needs to be created for the part that's being split from the combo pack. Does anyone want to jump in and let me know how does that work within your daily activities, checking the items upon receiving?
At Downers Grove, what we actually do is we check on as soon as we order. So we order from Midwest Tape and then, use 9XX to bring those records into the catalog. We don't separate combo packs, but I still, when we order Blu-rays, I actually go in and check each of the Blu-rays that we've ordered that week to make sure what record it's attached to. Now that we use Pipe Z, it doesn't generally attach to the incorrect record, but sometimes we'll order a combo pack and it does actually attach to a standalone Blu-ray. And so for us, our patrons place a lot of holds. And so we really like to get things taken care of as soon as possible so we don't create hold issues that just compound over time, especially for more popular films. And so I'll go in and I'll double check the UPC, or if not the UPC, it's just a Midwest Tape item number if the item doesn't have a UPC yet, and find where ours has attached. Look at the bib, see if it's, combo pack, Blu-ray, DVD, and move it as necessary. And then when the items physically come in, we will look at it and make sure, like you say, that we actually got what they're saying, whether if we ordered a combo pack, that we're getting a combo pack or what have you. And also we do get emails from Midwest Tape every now and again saying, you ordered this as a Blu-ray combo pack, it's only being released as a Blu-ray only, or vice versa. And so as soon as we get that email, we go in as well, and we might inform SWAN just to let them know. If it's just our record, if we're the only ones attached, we'll just change the bib to reflect that it's Blu-ray only now or Blu-ray combo now. But if there's multiple libraries on it, we'll let SWAN know so that they can edit and leave a note that says that while people are attached to this combo pack record and ordered a combo pack, it's not actually going to exist. And so what you're going to receive is just the Blu-ray alone.
Mm-hmm. That's really good. Thank you, Nora. Yes, my opinion is that the combo packs and its separate parts, it will never be perfect in the catalog because there are so many variables. Like it depends on what's published. You ordered something, you get another thing, and there is an additional layer of problem that sometimes Midwest Tape doesn't tell you how many discs are on the record, are on the item, so the records are missing. That information makes it even more confusing to attach your item, to know where to attach your item. But I do like Nora explained, I like when libraries are proactive, and as soon as you're not going to be receiving what you ordered, or Midwest Tape sends you that note saying, wait, this is going to be published only as Blu-ray, to go right away to Symphony workflows and change either the bib record if you're the only one attached, or move your item to the correct record. Does that make sense? I think it really will take like a teamwork, the whole consortium working together to improve these records. Yes, any comments, concerns? Are there any problems related to combo packs that you have come across that hasn't been mentioned here? All right. So we are going to proceed. Everybody is really quiet. Can you still hear me? Anyone?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, it was so quiet. I thought I had lost everyone.
No.
All right, okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, Nora. Thank you, Joy, for your input. And all right, so the bottom line is check your item upon receiving and check what you have in the catalog if you get any notices from Midwest states. All right, so proceeding here. All right, what's going on here? Okay. Binge boxes.
Claudia, can I?
Yes.
Claudia, this is Amy at Woodridge.
Hi, Amy.
We're doing something similar to what Nora is doing. That when we order it, we do separate. So I do go back and check to make sure that it's on the individual ones. My issue is with old copies. We didn't do that. Is there any way, if we had a note that we put in that DVD was separated out, is there any way to try to find the old ones to be able to move those?
Yes, we did. We ran a report or several reports about combo packs Blu-rays, and a lot of those older records have been cleaned up, but I have been finding still older records with that note there because the report is not perfect because so many variables on the bib record might make the report fail. So I guess we can run a report in the extended information, right, Dawn, Scott, Sam? We can run reports on the extended information on the records. We will, let me give some thought.
If we have examples of where that data is stored for individual libraries, we can kind of poke around and see what we can do. But like Claudia says, it's not perfect, so we kind of have to match the wording patterns that libraries use to get them.
I was thinking about running reports in that circ note because that's where it usually is, right, Amy? You put in the circ note or used to put it.
I think we put it in the staff note.
Okay. And the thing with the Blu-ray reports, it's very picky. So if it's not like a standard way that those notes were put, like for example, if it was Blu-ray, not all caps in some records have it all caps, but we will try, and run different reports and see what we can come up with. And if I come up with a whole bunch, I will send some to you too.
Okay, that's
All
good.
right. Great. Yeah. Yes, I did notice that you guys no longer do that in some other libraries. So it's really like older records, but it's always a good reminder for new records, upcoming titles, not to do that anymore.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right.
Also, Laura had a question in the chat that I thought I would just take. What if we make a precat for a combo, but it comes in as a Blu-ray only? What should we do with the errant precat, which may have other libraries attached to it in the meantime? And that's sort of a difficult question just because of that. Actually, this thing that's on screen right now, limited quantities will include DVD version of the film. The fact that you got a Blu-ray only doesn't mean that everybody's going to get a Blu-ray only necessarily. So I would suggest that honestly, this might have to be sort of a case-by-case basis, and we would. It sounds like we would depend on 100% attention when it comes to this, and hopefully every library would notice that they were on the wrong record or on a record that no longer applies. If the thing was only Blu-ray only, it's sort of going to be impossible to tell. If you have reason to know that this thing across the board was only released as a Blu-ray and the combo pack just simply doesn't exist. In that case, it would be nice to hear from you, and so you could let us know and we could sort of take care of that. But if it's still kind of up in the air as to what's out there in the world, there's not too much we can do. And Amy's right, yeah, holds are a sort of a whole different issue on this thing. In certain cases, it might be. I mean, if we did know better, if we did know that this thing was going to be Blu-ray only, of course we would convert the combo pack record instead of moving things over to maintain those holds. But again, it sort of just depends on each individual situation.
Yep. Yeah, okay. At the end of the day, the item needs to be on the correct record, right? So, yeah, the holds, it's a little bit of a problem, but we'll figure it out case by case. Right. So the next topic on the agenda is the binge boxes, best practices. So just to recap, you know, many libraries create in-house binge boxes and they correctly enter the pipe Z in front of the ISBN and the UPC. So other items don't get attached to their binge boxes. And the naming convention is the library 3-letter code plus the title. Example here, the 245 XYZ library sports binge box. And they list the titles and the 505 tag. Perfect. Okay, so it has come to our attention in the last few days, one library saying that some information was missing to their binge boxes, like UPC was missing from the binge box that they had created. So it might have happened. Sometimes people use duplicate title wizard to create a binge box, to duplicate that and update it to adapt it to their own library. So if you do that, like if you copy somebody else's binge box, just make sure you're not deleting or editing anything on that library's record. And there's also documentation on the support site about binge boxes. Let me bring that over here. Just in case, because it was added about a year ago, but not many people perhaps browse this area of the support site with binge boxes. So we have a distinction here about the in-house created binge boxes. And then the binge boxes purchased from Midwest Tape, those that contain a UPC or ISBN number that is unique to the binge boxes, those will be overlaid with a full record. So that one you don't have to worry about including the Z in front. The binge boxes purchased from Midwest Tape. And the in-house created binge boxes, those are not going to be overlaid with full records. So you have the pipe C here. Just make sure, like I said, not to edit or delete anything in case you're duplicating somebody's binge box. Any comments about binge boxes? All right, so we will proceed. Next topic, Voxbooks. Okay, so Voxbooks, just recapping too, has those specific tags, the 300 tag, one audio enabled book, and then the 500 Voxbooks, and it gets the 590 other audio. And their library submitted a question if you guys create precats for each Voxbooks title, or do you use the file sent by Library Ideas to create MARC records? I guess Library Ideas, I had to search that too because I wasn't sure what Library Ideas was. I guess Library Ideas acquired Voxbooks. So I guess they publish or provide these items. And I guess one of their services is that you can download MARC files from them and upload those MARC files into workflows using one of our reports. Right, Sam? Do you want to talk about that? I don't mean to put you on the spot. I don't know if Sam left, but anyway, it's the loading bibs and items without orders report, right, Scott? I guess this has been set up for a couple libraries.
Yeah, this refers, you're referring to, we do have a couple libraries using a very, very, I guess, stripped down sort of acquisitions process, quote unquote, for which we basically set up bibload reports with a specific configuration that works on, of course, the matching process is the same for anything incoming, but through acquisitions, but also it doesn't use the order bit. It'll just sort of upload precats that are then, and so basically vendor precats. And so VoxBooks is a good example of those because you know, they're not full bibs with order information. They're just kind of a simple precat. And so we have a couple libraries doing that for the acquisition process in general, and this would fit into that kind of well. If anybody is interested in this sort of thing as well, we can talk to you about a precat process, including a bibload report.
Yes, so here's the information on the support site, loading bibs and items without orders. And well, the bottom line is this library, she was asking, like, is anyone using that to create MARC records? Apparently not, right? And because their staff, they don't have access to OCLC to copy the OCLC record to create precats for these items. So I guess her question also involves what are the best practices you guys use to create precats for VoxBooks? Does anyone want to jump in? Anne Marie? Okay, Glen Ellen creates precats since we don't order much of them. Do you look in your OCLC for information about the record, or you wait until you receive it? Anne-Marie?
Yes. What we do is we wait until we receive them. And so we have all the information in front of us, the title page and so forth. And we just create our precats from there, and then we bring in an OCLC record for them.
Okay. All right, so I just want to leave it out there, the option of using the load bibs and items without orders to create precats for these. But like if you're not ordering a lot of them, I guess it makes sense to continue with the way you're doing. This other library, she said they're starting to order many, many VoxBooks, so they might look into optimizing their how they create precats for that.
And Claudia, I'm here. I'm sorry, I had a sticky mute button, and I think Scott explained it perfectly well. But if anyone has any questions about that, load bibs without orders, I'm here now.
Okay, yes, I recommend everyone to take a look at the documentation on the support side too and see if that would work for you. Yes,
yeah,
Scott.
Don just provided the link to that documentation in the chat if you're interested.
Great, great. Does anyone else want to comment on this? All right, and there is another topic that it didn't make to the agenda because I had already created the agenda. I'm like, oh gosh, I sent this and I forgot to add this. And I might ask Diane and Amy Weiss to talk about this. But we had some cases of those, you know, those stand-up comedies that they're actually a spoken recording. They're not musical recording. Therefore, they are audiobooks. But yes, go ahead.
Sorry, I actually had an interesting conversation this morning with Joy about this very topic.
Okay.
And yes, she brought up a good point as well. That's sort of that changed my mind about this a little bit. So I shouldn't have interrupted you. I should have let you finish.
No,
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. It's so nice to have somebody else talking. Go ahead.
The topic, it has to do with the format that we're using for stand-up comedy and other sort of similar similar sound recordings.
Do you want me to bring a record on the screen? Because I have one open.
Oh, sure.
I have the example Amy sent, Larry, the cable guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so this, it has a 590 audiobook, and it is a record type, non-musical sound recording.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so because of the record type and because of the nature of how 590s were assigned in the first place and how I had a script a few years ago when we imported the records from the New 19 libraries, and I've been using it ever since, that adds 590s to incoming records that are new. So the script itself, just by the nature of how it has to work, it uses that record type I and applies audiobook CD. And the logic, in my mind, the logic of it's a spoken word recording, that sort of lends itself to audiobook as well.
Yeah,
but
it has a stand-up comedy here, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, Joy brought up a good point that from a perspective of somebody who's doing a search, it may not be obvious that the stand-up comedy sort of thing would be an audiobook, because technically it's not an audiobook. And also, a lot of the times these CDs are shelved with the the musical CD collection or alongside it or within it. So basically there are two options for formats for this comedy sort of genre, audiobook versus CD, and where's the right place for it? And I thought I had the answer, and it seemed obvious, and now after this conversation, I don't think we do have the answer, and I think this is something we need to have a conversation about, because we do need to be consistent, and the issue we have right now is that there's not consistency.
Mm-hmm. And the way they're packaged too, right? Like you said, they're shelved sometimes with the CDs because it's those jewel cases, not like the audiobook type of.
Yeah, so I would love to hear some feedback about what in your minds here in the group, where you think these should go, if be it one or the other. And this is something that I think we'll take back to advisory and make a more informed decision about in the future, probably at a next month's meeting. Are there any thoughts on this?
I think they make more sense going with CDs just because of how they're cased, and then also what I think search behavior would be among patrons. But that said, I don't have a lot of patron interaction, so it might be beneficial to, talk to our reference desks, our, popular services desks, and just find out if they know of any issues patrons are having in terms of searching for these materials.
Also, can you guys hear me? Can anybody hear me?
Yes.
Oh,
Hi.
thank you. Okay, good. Sorry, I never my right setup. This is Julie from St. Charles. We also have this. This comes up with meditation CDs, and it's the same general problem, not problem, but conundrum that you have with stand-up comedy, because a lot of them too are in those jewel cases, and they're mostly single disc or even one or two disc items. And we understand as catalogers that the eye, it's a non-musical CD, but our patrons don't understand that because all of the other jewel case type things have CD, and so they think about it as a CD. It is a CD. It's not a lecture, it's not a book. And so when we're the only ones attached, I think I've used CD, but now that I say that, I might have been inconsistent, who knows? But yeah, I would like CD better because it's I think from what I have, to Nora's point, what I've gotten from our reference staff is that patrons can conceptually understand what an audiobook is, and they don't think of audiobook when they think of these kind of materials. But that's a one case that's not probably universal. But thank you.
Also, the wording CD, it is literally a CD. So it's hard to go to a patron and be like, but this isn't a CD, when they're like, literally, it's a CD in a CD case.
Exactly. Like that's
so
yeah.
the audiobook case at least is different. So they're like, yeah, it's CDs, but it's different. And it's hard to say it's different when physically it is the same.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, I guess Melissa at Oak Brook also Steph loves this debate. We have it regularly with people in both camps. Yes, it is a conundrum. And so we'll bring the stopgate to the advisory group, right, Scott? And
Yeah, we'll do some advisory. I'm also would like to, and you know what might be a good group to talk to about this because they're readily available to us is that Ducks group because there are so many people there that work on public services and stuff. And so that would be, I think I'll talk to Tara about maybe having a brief conversation about it.
Yes, I was thinking about the
start to get
ducks. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get some opinions together, and then we can convene on this topic in November.
Okay. And I'll add this topic to the next cataloging users as well.
For sure, but you'll definitely hear from us about this before the next users meeting will be. Yeah, we'll get an answer together before the end of the year on this, and then make a plan for some standardization cleanup.
Hi, Melissa added another comment. Do you want to talk, Melissa? Can you unmute yourself? No, no microphone, no problem. She says, one major point is that it's a performance.
Which is something, a point, not to speak for you, Joy, but Joy made that same comment this morning, that, yeah, as a performance, it does fall more into the performance music arena. So there's some more, there's a lot of like reasons to point that direction.
Great, yeah. Thank you, Amy Weiss, for starting this topic.
Right. Thank you for bringing it up.
Sure. All right. So, does anyone want to add anything else about this? Do we need a break or can we keep going?
That was an amazing sigh, which makes me think we might be okay with a brief break.
Yes or no? I go for yes, a 5-minute break, but if everybody decides no, let's just get it over with, I'm fine too.
I think a break sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. We'll be back so it's 10:15 at 10:20. Thank you, everyone. Are we ready to restart? Okay. All right, so following the agenda, the next topic is graphic novels and books and series. Before we read this slide, let me show you the next slide. This is just an example of inconsistencies on the way graphic novels are cataloged. I know the majority of this group is not a cataloging library. You're entering pre-cats. So what I wanted to point out is add as much information as possible to the pre-cats you create for graphic novels and books and series. Search for the series to see how it has been previously entered. And send in tickets with series inconsistencies so we can update all the records associated with the series title. Because it looks, we can see that on the catalog, but it's not like a huge thing. But you know, it would be nice if everything was standardized and having the titles entered in a standard way because it will impact how it displays an enterprise. So we're trying to do a big cleanup of graphic novels and books and series as far as the series of statements and the way they are entered in the catalog. Does anyone want to comment on this? I know we talked about this in the cataloging advisory, so I wanted to bring the attention of the cataloging users group too, to keep an eye out for these types of materials and submit tickets when you find inconsistencies. Okay, Go ahead. Who wants to comment on this? Somebody has to say something because it's a very important issue to have a standard for graphic novels and books and series.
I definitely
Amy?
think it's important because our selector for graphic novels has in the past come to me with these inconsistencies, which she's found because patrons get confused about it. You know, if most of the books in the series say the series name and the number in the title, and then one randomly is just the title word and doesn't have a series name, it definitely creates confusion when people are looking at stuff in the catalog versus on the shelf, which I think is even more of an issue now that there's presumably fewer people in most of our libraries and more people interacting with the catalog.
Right, thank you. Yes, Amy Vice says, I think the more people looking for this, the better, and reporting them to SWAN. I agree, and we want that. We want to bring more awareness, a higher level of awareness of these types of materials. And I know that graphic novels are so tricky because some of them are a compilation of this volume to that volume number. So there's not one model fits all for this type of materials, but it's going to be a combined effort of the whole consortium to make these records better. Diana asked a question, are the inconsistencies in the title field or the series field? They are both, Diana, because sometimes the series statement is entered in the title, and sometimes it is part of the title. So like I said, it's not one size fits all, it's a case by case. And sometimes it's part of the 490 and the 800, but like this, you can see they have been entered in the title, and there's not even consistency in the way they were entered in the title. So for instance, my point is the person who entered volume 9 here or volume 8 should have looked how it has been done before and follow that pattern. Okay, that's what I want to get at. Look how the series was entered before in the system. Patsy added a comment. How would you like them to be displayed? So if we're creating a new precat, we can do it correctly. Well, you can look at the title page because sometimes the series is part of the title. So if it says VOL period in the title page, as part of the title, you're going to enter that in the 245 as it is on the source. Okay, and then if you open that series, if you look for that title in SWAN and you see, oh my gosh, it's all over the place. How do I format the volume information in the 245 tag? You can send us a ticket. We'll look it over. We will correct as many records as possible. Okay. Diana, because what I've experienced is sometimes the title information is coming from the indicia and the volume may be spelled out or in numeral form also. Yes, I agree with you that sometimes even the way they publish these materials, they don't follow a consistent way they number the series. So it is a case by case, but just being more aware and look how it has been entered before in the catalog. And if you have any questions, submit a ticket and we can put our brains together to try to improve these records. Okay, yes, sometimes the title page isn't explicit, and that's correct. And that's another reason to look, let's say if you get a volume 9 of a certain title, to look at how did they do in SWAN for volume 8, volume 7. Okay. Anyone else? Any comments on this? It's never going to be perfect with graphic novels, but we will try our best to get some consistency in the way they display. Anne-Marie, do you want to say anything? Because you got this conversation started not long ago.
Hi, sorry.
Hi.
Having
Okay.
technical difficulties here today at
Oh,
home. Oh
oh,
my Lord.
sometimes I'm talking and I see that I'm muted.
Um, no, I don't have anything as of right now. I do appreciate all of you for taking all those examples and making them consistent. I went back and we were able to assign our call numbers, and when I was doing so, I had noticed that you cleaned them all up and they looked great. But yeah, I think this is just going to be an ongoing issue, unfortunately. It's I do not have a good verse on graphic novels. So this is a very difficult area for me, as well as I'm sure others.
Right.
But I do
Yeah.
appreciate everything you've done, and we will continue, if it's all right with you, to send those in if
Please
we
do
see
it.
them. Great.
Yes, please do it. And some other people have started sending series to be corrected or discrepancies in series, the way they are formatted, and that's great. And gosh, I was gonna say something and I forgot now, but if I remember, I'll come back. Anyone
Okay.
else?
I do want to add something here while we're on the topic of graphic novels.
Sure.
In terms of just, we're talking about precedent and looking at what existed before. And the same thing applies to, if there ever are, I know this doesn't exactly apply to graphic novels, but book sets in general, looking at call numbers and anything that requires volume information, and just really ensuring that if there is any ambiguity to how you should represent a volume statement in a call number, or the analytic as it's known in the call number, to look at what has existed before and make sure that the same volume is represented the same way in your call number as it is on previous call numbers. And as an extension of that, not to get too off topic, but the same thing really applies to serials. And we've been doing some work in contacting libraries when we do find inconsistencies in volume information in serial records. But excuse me, I would like to sort of encourage everyone to sort of go back to the drawing board and make sure that you're able to review the documentation on serial call numbers, and how those dates, mostly since they're generally dates now, are supposed to be formatted with the 3-letter month code, the commas, the way that the year is supposed to be written out. If you're not using the serial control module, we are still fighting that uphill battle of getting those all lined up. So while we're reaching out to people occasionally on this, it would be great if you could take sort of the action item to review that documentation, which is now in the chat. Thank you, Claudia. And just making sure that you're matching what the SWAN standard.
And one more thing about the graphic novels and books and series, if you notice, I'm sure when you're entering a pre-cat for this items, you notice, oh, it's part of a series. Alarm bells should ring in your head to take a look at how it has been done before, how it has been entered before. That's the thing I wanted to say. If I'm a cataloger at a library and I get like a graphic novel or a book and series, boom, my head would be ringing because I know I have to pay closer attention to those items. Right? Anyone else want to say anything about this?
Hi, wait, this is Diane. Can
Hi.
I jump in real quick about volume numbers as well?
Mm-hmm.
I know back in Millennium days, we often had graphic novels all on one record, but sometimes we
Good.
end up having to break them apart. A lot of libraries don't have volume numbers in their series records for graphic novels. So when we break them apart, we don't know where those go. So we either have to contact the library, or sometimes I just place a hold and get it and see where it actually goes. So if libraries, if you have some big series of graphic novels, take a look in your catalog and see if they have the volume number attached, if it's part of a series. And when patrons place holds, then they can't. That really confuses that whole thing. But it's mostly in this huge graphic novel series. There's some Pokemon and I think I just cleaned up a Vampire Chronicle one and a Naratu, or however you say that. So anyway, take a look at your big series of graphic novels and make sure that your items do have volume numbers in a series.
And tagging along with that, conversely, if it does have a volume in the title record, you do not need a volume in the item record.
Excellent. And the code number, you mean? If it's a record, let's say for volume 27, you don't need to add the volume 27 to your code number.
You
Correct.
can add the volume 27, just don't put it in the delimiter Z.
Right.
Okay.
Correct. If you still want to put the volume number in your code number, not the delimiter. Yeah, great. No, those are great points. Thank you for bringing them up, Diane and Amy. I added the link to the graphic novels documentation. And just for the new libraries, we started doing this separating out back in 2017. So you might find older records that have all the volumes in one listed in one record. So just so you know. Right. Any other questions? Comments? Thank you, everyone. So, all right. So, the next topic on the agenda is cataloging training and development. I've been working with Sam, with Crystal and Dawn, and we've been creating self-paced courses. And I've created the first one, which obviously is creating precats, and this will be published to the Learning website next week. And the link to the self-paced course will be sent to a few people who want to try it out. So if you are dying to try a self-paced course and provide feedback until it becomes like a final, it will never be a final because these courses are always an ongoing project. We're always improving, adding new examples. But if you would like to try out this self-paced course and would like to receive a link for that, and then you can add your comments, just let me know and I'll send you the link to access the course. Dawn, do you want to add anything about this?
Just that we hope to, get these out to the general membership probably by the end of October. So I think some early eager people that would like to review and give feedback would be really helpful.
Yeah, because with the link I'll send you, you start the course and then there's a field right next to every segment where you can add your comments. And I think we're going to get that through new libraries, right? Dawn, Roselle, Warrenville, and Glenside to test drive the new course. So that's exciting. Thank you, Roselle, Warrenville, and Glenside for doing that. Hey, does anyone have any questions about this? So if you're interested in trying the new course, just email me and I'll send you the link. Great. So those who attended the cataloging users meeting back in February when we had it in person in Villa Park, we sort of played a game at the end where we could find errors or inconsistencies in the precats. So that's what we're going to do now. Oh, no, there's one more topic. We'll go back to that. Sorry. I totally forgot about this. We decided to standardize the signature tag, that 946 tag, to do this new standardized format. Your library 3-letter initials, your initials, and the date in the year, month, and day format. And the reason is because Blue Cloud Analytics reports can be pulled using information in the 946 tag. So we would like for libraries to start using the 946 signature in this format. Any comments or anything Yes, Amy, all in caps. Blue Cloud Analytics is a little picky with the caps or non-caps, so we thought it would be better like this. What do you guys think? Any comments? So if you can inform staff of this change, that would be great. Oh, okay. I think, yes, Nora, thank you. I think it would be good to be standardized. I think so too. Okay, and Sue asked, can you show the 946 field if only editing? Yes, I can do that. So let me bring this here. Let's say if I were editing this record, I will put edit. Oh, it's October 1st. Okay. Good. All right. So going back to what I was talking before, if nobody else has any other topics you would like to bring up, this is your chance. All right, so when we were at Villa Park, the first cataloging users meeting and the last one that we met in person, we played a game at the end where we would detect errors in the precats. So it was kind of fun, and so I created 3 slides that we can find errors, just, to have a little fun at the end. So who wants to enter in the chat box errors that you see in this precat? Everybody can type it in if you want to play the game. And I will be very disappointed
What do we
if
win,
nobody.
Claudia?
If
You gave treats before.
I know. I'll save the treats for the next meeting when we are all in person. All right, the 590, yes. Correct, Diane. The ISBN shouldn't have 2 lists like that. You would enter another field by right-clicking here and adding a field below, right? Mary Jane, yes, the 245 is missing the delimiter. Yes, it needed one more 020. The 590, regular print books do not need a 590. Please delete that format. Don't leave that, or delete the tag altogether by right-clicking here. All right, so let's see the results. Yes. First indicator on the 245 should be 0. Ooh, Emery, that's something we just changed. Yes, if you took the pre-cat class before, we used to always tell people the first indicator in the 245 defaults to 0 for pre-cat purposes only. Well, 99% of the time that would be incorrect in a full record. So we decided to make the first indicator in the 245 tag for precats defaults to 1. So instead of 0, it used to be taught like that, and it always bothered me. So I told Scott last week, I'm not teaching like that anymore. Let's say the first indicator in the 245 should be 1. Right, so I highlighted here, right? The ISBN should be down here with an extra tag. It's missing the delimiter, and here, sure, when you're entering the 264 tag and the only information you know or you want to enter is the date, make sure you enter preceded by pipe C. Because if you enter just like that and somebody does a search in workflows, the record is thrown to the bottom of the search results. So, and I tested that, and yes, it is thrown to the bottom. So make sure if you're entering just the date, make sure to enter the pipe C, okay? And the format, delete that from regular books or delete the tag altogether. Yeah, it's fun, right? I hope you guys enjoy. Let's look at another one. And I'll make sure to write down the names of people who get treats next time we meet in person. Right? Okay, so here's another pre-cat. Who wants to enter the errors? No C for date, yes. Amy, yes. 245 missing indicators. Audiobook CD, the 590 is incorrect. Yes, 245 missing indicators. Number of discs is not noted. Okay, I want to say something about that number of discs not noted. Sometimes people don't have the item in hands, so they leave it as discs. And it's sort of like understood in SWAN cataloging that if you don't have the number of discs or the number of pages, you enter either discs or pages. So I didn't count that as an error. I assumed I had a good faith in assuming that the person didn't have the item in hands. So let's see here. Oh, good. No subfield B on the 264. Very good, Amy. So those were, yes, the indicators missing. No subfield B missing. If you're starting the 264 tag with the publisher, you need to enter the pipe B, okay? And then it's missing the pipe C for the date. And the audiobook was missing audiobook CD. This is the most common inconsistency I find in precats. As you guys know, I look at 25 precats every day. Precats created the day before. And audiobook missing the CD is the most common. And also for DVDs, instead of DVD, I find a lot of them saying video. So it's always a good thing to have that 590 terminology printed and taped next to your computer. All right, one last one. All right, now inconsistencies in this precat. Whenever you're ready, just enter your, let's see here. Oh, all right, okay. 245 indicator should be 10. Okay, I want to talk about that with DVDs. Oh, the ISBN, Mary Jane, I kind of made up the 024 here. Amy, 300. Yes, Amy, very good. One Blu-ray should be one Blu-ray plus one DVD. All right, ready? Should we? Okay. So here's the thing with DVDs. Michael Caine is the actor, the main actor in this movie, which, by the way, is a very good movie. So he shouldn't be on the 100 tag. I know you guys want to call attention to, oh, the main actor is Michael Caine, but he should be here. If you really want to do that, if you think, oh, we should really mention that Michael Caine is in this movie, enter a 700 tag for added author or, okay? Here, 511, and in the 511 field, yes, you can enter the 511 field if you want to. With precats, it's kind of tricky because some people who create precats are very familiar with certain tags. I'm not sure everyone would be familiar with a 511. I feel like a 700 might be a better bet. But if you want to enter Michael Caine and the 511, that would be fine. So instead of entering the main actor there on the 100, enter a 700 here. And that was a good catch, Amy. It should be one Blu-ray disc plus one video disc with a subfield E indicating that there is an additional item to this, an additional part to this item. All right. And you see that the 946, I made sure to be in the new format. all caps, year, month, and day. And this is all I had for you guys. Do you want to, any questions, last comments? Do you want to go back to any of the topics we discussed today?
Claudia, this is Joy from Tinley Park. Just had a quick question. 946 for the OCLC libraries. Do you want to do that in all caps? Because right now, when I bring in stuff, I'm doing TPS-OCLC and my initials and the date.
Right. It would be good to standardize, Joy, if you don't mind. Of having all caps and then the date. Just like, who knows, maybe one day you're going to want reports out of that 946. I think if we're doing for pre-cats, we should do like all across the board and try to reinforce that.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Okay, good. No, thank you. Thank you for asking. I appreciate that. And if you guys have any questions and follow up, you can send questions to our online ticket system. Visit the support site for recorded sessions, submit requests for additional training topics, and as always, you can always email me, claudia@swanlibraries.net, and if you're interested in trying the new Creating Pre-CATs self-paced course or having somebody in your staff trying it out, just let me know and I'll send you the link. All right? If nobody has anything, I will stop the recording. It's almost 11. Oh, Diana added a comment. Private. Okay, thank you, Diana. It's okay. It's private. No problem. So if you guys are all done, I'm going to start the recording. I know it's 11. We normally go all the way to noon, but it's the nature of online meetings. And I hope you found this helpful. And I want to thank everyone for being here.